Deo Volente Farm stallion roster includes some of the top stallions in North America, including Perfect Sting, a Breeders' Crown champion at both 2 and 3, making him the first male pacer to accomplish this since 1998. The only undefeated 2-year-old to win the Breeders' Crown and never finished off the board in his 26 lifetime starts.
Perfect Breeders' Crown for Perfect Sting.
Deo Volente Farms premium breeding farm and syndicate management.
My grandfather instilled in me that there's no such thing as luck. He said luck is where hard work meets opportunity.
Windbag Farm of Ontario is home to outstanding sires, including a 3-time millionaire pacer tattoo artist who is new in 2025, the last great son of the legendary Some Beach Somewhere and multiple stakes champion Beachglass, Meadowlands Pace and Ontario Sire Stakes champion Lawless Shadow, and the richest pacing stallion in all of harness racing history, the great Hall of Famer Mick Wicked. Also standing at Windbag Farm, Archangel, Better Than Cheddar, Betting Line, My MVP, and Trixton. For more information, visit windbagfarm.com.
Welcome to Harness Racing Updates Choose in Training. I'm Heather Vitale, and we are at another barn in New Jersey, this time with Brett Pelling, who is making his Choose in Training debut. I want to add that. And we are going to talk a little bit about life before we talk about horses. Yeah, because honestly, I find yours so fascinating. I was reading about this 10-year rule that some of the experts, whoever the experts are, talk about, that like each decade you should do something challenging, something for growth personally. And I look at your life, and you live on the other side of the world. You come here, you have an amazing career as a trainer. Then you move away for 10 years, back down under, and then you're here again. You have 2 horses of the year. And it's kind of like, is this like Brett Pelling by design, or just how the stars aligned?
Well, life is meant to be in 10-year blocks. I mean, I think that's what you're implying. But no, opportunity. I think being a foreign person living here in America, I mean, I think I found more when I left this last time that it was probably home. I'd spent more than half my life here. So, going back to Aussie was probably more difficult than being here. I mean, I'd spent most of my life here. So it was an easy thing to do. Both the children had grown up and they were finished school, and they had moved on, and my daughter went to university in Scotland there, and she decided that there was nothing for her back in Australia. And we have another young daughter, and being older parents and your 2 older children are here, it was just sort of a logical move.
Do you ever look at your life and think, man, I'm like living an adventure. This is pretty great.
No, it's kind of write a book stuff when I think about a lot of the things that happened. I mean, it's been a good life. I mean, I appreciate where I'm at now, and I'm thankful that the business is still as strong as it is, and we get to have these wonderful horses and great owners, and it's just running along pretty smooth.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, now we're going to talk about some horses, and for the fans out there for Choose in Training, usually we talk to a trainer and get an update on a horse that he had in his stable last year, all right, who is continuing to race. But actually, we're going to talk about Sabonis, who is a new to your stable. Last year, 3 years old, made $500,000, won 16 out of 18 starts in the Midwest. Now he's here with you. So what's the scoop?
Well, I think through, I picked up the filly Walking on Sunshine, who's, a wonderful filly. He's done a wonderful job. And from what I can gather, there's a relationship there, whether, I'm not too sure if it's with the trainer or the owner, but there's a relationship there. So I'm sure they're watching her closely and seeing how well she was doing. And, you know, it's a bonus now he's 4, so there's probably not as much for him out in the Midwest, and, you know, cut down the travel, and I think for them it was probably a good move, something good to try.
All right, now we're going to talk about our 2-year-olds, and we've got all Pacers, and we're going to start with our boys. We've got Encryption's the first one, a Papi Rob Hanover out of Code Inn, a $110,000 Lexington purchase.
Yeah, you know, he's been push button perfect from really day one. He's you know, has a pretty high strung. You know, he's very full of himself in the barn, but steps onto the track and total professional. Great gated, good looker. You know, and he's sort of never had an off day, so I appreciate that about him.
All right, let's move on to a Samson Hanover, a Papi Rob Hanover again, and out of So Perfect, and a $65,000 Harrisburg purchase.
Yeah, he's been a real pleasant surprise. I mean, he's, you know, kind of middle of the road, I think, when we bought him. He was a little bit smaller, but, you know, he's really picked it up. He's sort of, as he's got bigger and stronger, and he's got a very good temperament, very willing, can be in front and behind, and, you know, really, like I just said to my trainer there, I said, you know, he could be the sleeper.
You know, you trained Papi Rob Hanover, and he's getting really great reviews, right? I know my mom went to a sale a couple years ago, and she's like, I want a Papi Rob, and I'm not leaving without one, you know, and she loves hers.
Yeah. No, well, the thing, we've had, I think I had like 8 or 9 of them last year, and we actually have 6 fillies this year and 2 colts. And one thing I've noticed about them is they don't have any bad traits. I mean, I think they feel like they're all going to make it right from day one, and which is pretty cool. I mean, I don't have to worry about them, you know, doing things wrong, or they're with you. None of them are aggressive. They just look like lovely horses, and I kind of believe that we're going to see them for, you know, many years to come. I think they'll just go on and be absolute rock solid racehorses.
Okay, we're going to move to a Captaintreacherous colt now out of Santa Rosa. C. Bistro Hanover. Now, this is a nice price of $410,000 from Harrisburg, bought by David McDuffie.
Yeah, well, it takes 2 people to make him 410, and there was probably 3 people right up to a pretty high number. But, you know, he was a very outstanding, athletic-looking colt at the farm. You know, when I saw him at the sale, I thought he had kind of, you know, trimmed down a little bit, and I sort of come to realize after getting him home there, he was exhausted, I think, for a couple of weeks. I think anyone who had gone to the sale had probably pulled him out and looked at him, and, you know, and he was just pretty kind of knackered. But, you know, after a couple of weeks, he, you know, started really, you know, doing well. He's super happy, super good gated. I mean, there's just not one thing you don't like about him.
All right, we're going to move on to Corbin Hanover, another Captaintreacherous out of Calgary, Hanover. A $50,000 yearling purchase from Harrisburg, and you own this one, right?
Yeah, that's. We try not to talk about him too much because you know, he absolutely goes wonderful, and but you know, me owning is a little bit the kiss of death. I mean, I did own a nice horse last year, which is the first one I've sort of put my money in and done real well out of, but. Yeah, he's wonderful. Great gated, great attitude. He had a very happy horse. You know, right size. Everything about him I like.
Calgary Hanover, the dam. This is her 11th foal. So some people might say the quality of a foal declines as the mare gets older. What's your take on that?
Well, it was her second captain. I mean, Chase H was her first captain, and he's a millionaire. That's kind of what I went by, and you know, and he was about my price limit, so that's another part of it. There's all different factors there, but we can make arguments for and against. But I had a good argument for picking him up, and I'm glad I did.
All right, another Captaintreacherous is Bougainvilla, and this is a $125,000 Lexington purchase out of Katie Said.
Yeah, he's a very interesting horse. He's probably grown more than any horse we've had come in. And, you know, I had a couple in that family before, and I thought they were a little bit, you know, a little resentful. I mean, maybe, you know, being a captain, and I was a bit worried about, you know, either he's going to have a good attitude, be a nice horse, or he wasn't. I didn't think there was going to be anything in between, and he's just been, you know, from day one, as much as he's grown and changed and everything, he's always been with us. Put him in front when you want to go a quicker time for the first time, and he's push button, do anything. He's a lovely horse.
Okay. Now, Sounds So Sweet, a Sweet Lou out of the great Southwind Tempo. Of course, this is an Eric Cherry Let It Ride Stables homebred.
Yeah, he's been a pleasant surprise also. I mean, he, being a non-sale horse, I think when you're a non-sale horse coming in at the same time really as the sale ones, I mean, they're all prepped and all muscled up and all kind of ready to go. But, he come in out of the field and he was a little bit homely and he had a bit of weight on him. But he's a big, black, beautiful horse, and he's perfect.
Okay, another pacing colt we have on the list is Margarita Wish, a Bettor's Wish out of Margarita Monday, and a $90,000 Lexington purchase.
Yeah, well, he's the only one who's been castrated, and he basically had to be castrated. He was basically mean and couldn't trust him, and did a lot of things wrong, and not a people person. That's a good way to put it. But anyway, he's since he's been castrated and stuff, he's been night and day better, and he's a very, very good gaited horse, and we're real happy with his improvement, and hopefully he can keep it going.
So the castration, I mean, it is a small percentage that you would absolutely do that.
No, well, I prefer to castrate them, really. I mean, but we'll give them that opportunity. I train a lot for breeders, and, everyone has a dream, and a lot of these colts, they're well-bred. They have a license. You have to give them that opportunity. They may be the one, but, there'll be more than 50% of them will be castrated before the year's out. I can guarantee that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now we've got Global, a Down by the Seaside out of Bozeman. This is a first foal and a Diamond Creek homebred.
Yeah, he's been a real surprise. I mean, like I was saying there before about the homebreds that come in, they sort of in out of the field and, not prepped, which, you have to sort of see that and go with it. But he's a colt. He's muscled up, fantastic. I had his mother. His mother was really, really nice filly, and he's another sleeper like Samson Hanover. I really believe that they have a license to go to the front.
So when you get a homebred, do you get them right after? Like you've got Lexington, you've got Harrisburg. As soon as Harrisburg is over, they ship on in here.
Yeah, we'll try and do it in stages. Either we'll get the homebreds in before the sales and get them broken and going and out, or they'll come in after. We'll do basically probably a couple of homebreds, then we'll do the Lexington, then we'll do Harrisburg, and then we'll turn around and do the rest of the homebreds that come in late. But we try and get them broken and going. I mean, they break and get gaited in that so quickly now that it's usually only really a 3 or 4 week process, and then they can go and have 2 or 3 weeks off.
Okay. And speaking of homebreds, we have Gandhi now, a Perfect Sting, and this is first crop of Perfect Sting out of pure country. If you watched her race, it was just an experience to watch her. So this is a big deal.
Yeah, no, you can see class when you see it. I mean, he's big, he's grand, he's he's one of the real lookers. Moves good, does everything kind of the way you want, and it's real kind of wait and see.
We're going to move to our pacing fillies now. We have Gothic, a Down by the Seaside out of a Swinging Beauty, another great racing mare. Now she was sold as Sleeping Beauty, $100,000 purchase from Ohio Select.
Yeah, she's been a real surprise also. I mean, she was, a bit slight, really not a lot to her. I had her brother Which Way to the Beach there a couple of years ago, and he was kind of a very, very robust, big girth horse and everything. And, she's, a lot finer, but man, her gait in that is just phenomenal. I mean, right from the beginning, get her out there moving and everything, and her gait is pretty special.
Okay, let's talk about Gracious now, a Captaintreacherous out of LA Delight, and of course, LA Delight was a millionaires as well.
Yeah, I wasn't around when LA Delight. I think it must have been when I was gone. So obviously she was a great mare and did great things. And this filly here, same thing. I mean, she's just been, really perfect from day one. And, I wish she was a little bit bigger, but they said her mother wasn't big either. So, and her gait in that, once again, is great.
Now we've got a generation, and obviously we've got a lot of G horses here because they are Diamond Creek, and it is the year the 2-year-olds will all be with the G name. But this is a Captaintreacherous out of Heart of Mine, and again, a homebred.
Yeah, beautiful looking filly. Goes, good gaited and everything. Just slots in there as one of the fillies remains to be seen. And, never done anything wrong, but, there's a couple of them can really spin the wheels, and a couple of them, you're waiting. And I think, down the track as they get stronger and stuff, a lot of them get better.
How important is it to you to put a 2-year-old mark on a horse?
To me, well, I mean, when you train for a lot of breeders and stuff, you understand the significance of it. It's obviously very important to them, and so we work for them. I mean, it's part of our job, so it is important.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. JK Sassy Lady is next, a Papi Rob Hanover out of JK Always Be a Lady, and this is first full and a homebred, but for Three Brothers stable.
Yeah, correct. He's Alan is he's been doing his JK thing there for a long time, and I think he's got another good one, another nice filly. She's strong, willing, just does everything the way you want, and a little bit blasé about life, but that's okay. I don't mind him like that.
Okay. Sunny Station is next, consigned by Spring Station. This is a first. We've got the first crop of Perfect Sting and a first foal out of Sandy's Beach and a $65,000 Lexington purchase. Yeah,
well, Dia Valenti Michelotto, they were looking for, they stand Perfect Sting. They were looking for a nice Perfect Sting filly, and this filly, she was one of our choices, and well made, well put together, and everything. She's she's doing well.
Okay, and finally we have Gallery and Always Be Miki out of Blood Red and a homebred.
Yeah, well, this is a sister to Direction, and Direction, she made $500,000 last year, and was a really good filly for us, and this filly. Probably from the beginning has probably been ahead of where Direction was at the same time, and that's a good thing about training brothers and sisters. You get to compare them and everything, and a lot of similarities, but this filly's doing really well, and like I said, she's ahead of where Direction was at the same time.
We had all pacers on our list. Do you have any trotters?
No, and not by choice. I actually thought about doing some trotters last year, but I've really tried to control the numbers. I just don't want it to get too crazy, and sort of getting older, and enjoy what you have, and and I do feel with the trotters, if I did the trotters, it would have to be 8 or 12, and I'd love to do them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we leave, you talked about in the beginning, like, you do love this sport, you love the horses. I mean, you can tell you have a passion, so hands-on. If you were the commissioner of harness racing, I know you've got opinions, I know you've got great ideas. Give us one idea of what you would change.
Well, it probably stems back to, I think I said the same thing 30 years ago. I mean, I don't understand why we're not all racing under one umbrella, why the states are so separated, and why there's you're excluded from one to the other, why you have to get licensed in one then the other, why you have to get fingerprinted in one then the other, and I've had a couple of new owners come along over the years and stuff, and honestly, it just falls into the too hard basket. And for what reason? I don't understand what we're doing with all of that. Maybe 30, 40 years ago, you might have thought Al Capone might have wanted to own a horse to do this or that. But the business has a way of kind of policing itself without all this anarchy that we deal with all the licensing. And everyone said the same thing forever and ever, but it's such a roadblock to get people in and interested and make it easy for them. So many things go into the too hard basket when you're a person out there dealing in the world the way the world is now.
Well, great interview and so many great takeaways. I appreciate you being with me today.
All right, no, thanks for coming. Cheers.